Today, we talk about productivity. Did you know that according to a study, organizations that have fully embraced digital transformation are 26% more profitable than those who have not? This highlights the importance of digital transformation for businesses to stay competitive, drive growth in today's digital age. I'm your host, Brian Wagner, licensed professional engineer, and in this episode of the Engineering Quality Control Podcast, I'll be talking with Adam Stark, who is the co-founder at Jet.Build, about the digital transformation in the world of engineering and construction and how it's shaping the future of these industries. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into this world of digital transformation. So now I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Adam Stark, co-founder at Jet.Build. Adam, welcome to the Engineering Quality Control Podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Brian. I'm very excited to be here.
Let's get started, Adam, with maybe telling our audience a little bit about what you do on a daily basis and what type of engineering experience you might have.
Yeah, totally. So on a daily basis, I kind of split my time in two ways. One is your typical kind of business development, right? So just outreach, spreading the name, the brand of Jet.Build, meeting new potential clients. And then the second half, which is probably the more fulfilling half of my day, I'll call it, is engaging with existing clients and engaging with existing data, right? So what I mean by both of those is understanding what clients are actually using on our product, how they're using it, both from their literal feedback and the data, and then continuing to refine our software accordingly, right? So if you could imagine, an Apple iPhone, I'll just use that as like the default example, and how they release product updates all the time. So they come out with iOS 16, then a few weeks later it's 16.1, 0.102, et cetera, et cetera. So we're doing the same thing, right? Like any software, it's just this continual refinement cycle. We focus really heavily on what our clients need, ask for, questions they may have, and then the data that backs kind of the use case, and then deliver accordingly.
Okay. Can you give us just like this overarching of what Jet.Build is?
Totally. So Jet.Build is real estate command center in one line, right? So it's this end-to-end solution from pre-con functions to construction functions to project delivery. And then if you happen to be, for example, a developer or building owner, you could then leverage it for asset management as well. So it's this end-to-end lifecycle project management solution that also captures data.
Okay. So one of the notes that we have is about digital transformation and the revolutionizing that technology is doing to the landscape. What's your opinions on that?
Totally. So if you look at historical data on the industry, you get these abysmal numbers of, since 1968 or some odd year where productivity has not increased. However, since the early 2000s, you have these, project management tools that have released to the market and have proven to provide productivity increases on job sites. So it kind of creates this dynamic of question of, how does that make sense, right? Like it hasn't increased since 68 yet, since 2000, we have this data showing that there is increases in productivity. So my kind of realization there, and this is how the inception of Jet occurred, is to say, yeah, products exist. However, evidently and clearly, they haven't been adopted to the scale where we're pushing the industry forward to productivity as a whole. And going back from my own experiences and Joseph, my co-founder, his experiences on construction job sites, we were not able to adopt those products. One reason being is having a complicated user interface, user experience, so UI, UX, having a difficult to use product. So basically, we took that information, both on the lack of productivity, both on the evidence of using a product and the difficulty in using what existed in the market. And we went ahead and started building our own solution, right? So wrapping back to your question is, I think that if we can cover, and this is what Jet is doing, our vision here, is if we can cover this baseline essential with smartphone simplicity, as I call it, to allow for all users, whether it's a site operator all the way to a lender who's looking at reports, ensure that this productivity is being addressed from, like I just mentioned, the end-to-end side of both the life cycle of the property and the life cycle of the users. Then I think we could push productivity to what it should be, similar to other industries in the market.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, I was thinking about that the other day as well, as far as like with CAD and how we were going to get away from
Mhm.
paper. And I think we waste more paper now than we ever have
Right.
uh, in
It's
in printing things the way that we've
right.
always done it. If I hear that one more time, I just want to pull my hair out, and I'm losing my hair, so I'm not going to have much to pull out. That
Yeah,
I
we've
can do
almost
it
in
faster the way we used to do it.
right,
Yeah,
right,
but is that
exactly.
more efficient? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have not been able to find handwritten computations because somebody submitted the originals and they just
Right,
poof, they're gone, and we might have a scan of them. Like, it was just crazy with that, and I can definitely see where it's gotta be easy to use.
right.
I mean,
So yeah,
how many games have you downloaded on your phone and delete it in 15 minutes because it just didn't make sense or it was dumb and it didn't, do you know what I mean? Like
100%. Yeah, like doubling down on what you brought up is essentially if you look at the complications of softwares that exist, it's almost created this duplicative effort, right? Where you're doing, okay, now you're going to do it on the software, but then you're also going to continue to print it because, that's the way that we were used to, producing the materials that we needed to produce. So, and to your point of, games on your phone, you just delete what ends up being complicated. You just don't use what ends up being complicated. So, going back to that core concept, right, is to say, let's address the complication while allowing for productivity, right? So create a simplified product, address the baseline, create this backbone tech stack of digital transformation, and then let's move on from there.
and then through that process, you're adding value.
Absolutely, yeah. So similar to all of the statistics that one could really easily find about productivity and how it's gained from digital transformation. So it's that same concept in a simplified manner, right? So it's creating that, like I just said, right, this backbone of digital transformation for your company. I mean, we've done this in quite literally an hour for organizations, and it almost feels shocking when I say that, just because we've come to have this perception that's ingrained in us now that creating digital transformation or adopting a product as a solution is this complicated, heavy lift that's going to take forever. I mean, in reality, it doesn't have to be. It just doesn't have to be that way. Think about when you get a new phone. There's simple ways of bringing it up to speed. There's simple ways of starting to use it because it's new tech, and now we're as a whole, just as people, right? We're used to using technology.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I started using MicroStation has been my CAD platform that I've used a majority of
Mhm.
my career, and it came with, if you printed out all the manuals, it were like 6 or 7 3-inch binders
Yeah,
of
yeah.
just, and now they don't even produce it. The instructions, the help is more integrated and it's more intuitive because the people
Mhm.
that are even the youngest, but even I mean, I'm 40, so in that mid-career level, we grew
Mhm.
up with PlayStation, Nintendo, and learning those games and learning the technology on the fly.